As an awakened superhuman, there's certain elements that it's very important for us to identify when we're trying to connect to guidance and identify what's the next best thing to do. For example, for me yesterday, I found myself repeating, get out of beta and into alpha. Get out of beta and into alpha. And what does that mean, and why is it important for us as awakened superhumans? Is that normal individuals, or let's say the normal collective, is resting or abiding or living in. And they're giving me several words because apparently it's going to land differently for several of you. Reciting, thank you. A lot of the normal collective is reciting and living out of the beta. And what does that mean? That is a state of the brain. It's how the brain is functioning. And there's different levels of functioning in the brain. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the beta and the alpha. The beta is, again, what we normally are in, right? We are very in the mind, very in the conscious, being entertained or distracted with what's going on in the external. But we are not necessarily taking time to dwell in the internal and the higher availability of the self, the higher consciousness. But in the alpha is when we enter a different place and state in which we are, we are more in a state of receptivity, of knowing, and recognizing where we are being led into and how we're being led and how we're being shown and how we are being assisted in having experiences that we can celebrate as quantum leaps. And this could be connected in relevance to business, if you have a business. This could be that you are trying to identify solutions for your health, or you're trying to identify how to create more abundance, or how to feel more liberated, or how to connect to people that are more in the energy of your tribe, more in the soul family. So this can be applied in many different ways, but it's very, thank you. And they want me to say it differently, so one moment. Thank you. Got it. And they're audibly saying abiding in the alpha is a place and a state in which we can deliberately step into the all-knowing. We can step into a place of receptivity that allows us to see more than the norm, more than what's in the external, and more of what can be identified as productive solutions, productive steps, productive ideas. Thank you. We get to really experience ourselves beyond this physical body, beyond the human, beyond what we can label at times. And I'm going to say this very loosely, the idea of the human limitation. In alpha, we become receptors, we become receivers, we become antennas. Thank you, they're showing me an antenna. We become an antenna that allows us not to just tap into what our soul is trying to offer us, our higher consciousness is trying to offer us. We tap into the oneness. We tap into this exciting deliverance that allows us to understand not just how we are here in this physical world or now in this physical body, but how we can step outside of it to become part of a bigger experience, part of the deliciousness of understanding that we're more, again, than just humans. So what I was being reminded yesterday, and again, I felt myself repeating that over and over and over, step out of the beta and into the alpha. And what was triggering that for me, and I'm giving this as an example because it's going to help you to identify and become more mindful on when you are going too much into beta. You're not letting your mind get into a place of alpha. So when we're in beta, we are trying to solve things out of the mind, right? We're trying to use the intellect, which of course is necessary. It's the whole idea of having that perfect balance, but we're too much in our head. We're too much stuck into the doing versus the allowing. We get stuck and we trip. Thank you. They're showing me somebody tripping over a cord. We're in beta. When we are in beta, we trip over our own selves. We trip over our things that are happening in our world that are keeping us from seeing more, living more lightly is what they're saying. So for me, as an example, we're, of course, excited to celebrate that we are growing very rapidly, right? We're growing our business, we're growing our brand, and we're growing our team to better serve you, to better serve the people that I know are destined to be, supported through this platform. And as we're doing this, I was getting caught up in the whole beta, right? My mind was going, I was like trying to do it here as a human self, forgetting that there's something much greater that is calling this into form, but also something much greater that is serving you and in your own awakening and in your own deliverance into the superhuman self. So I found myself doing all of this, and it was as if a wave of wind, let's say, a wave of consciousness, it was like, why are you not taking time in the alpha, right? The alpha, the place in which I can take a deep breath, hone in into my awakened self and to my superhuman powers, and allow myself to receive more of that support. So stepping into alpha, there's many different ways and processes. For me, when I work on one-on-one coaching, I like to be able to identify what are the things that are already part of your doing, part of your day, part of your reality that have you organically and naturally stepping into alpha. And sometimes for some people, it could be when you're doing the dishes because you're so much in the now that you're not in your head, right? You're just being engaged with the dishwashing. Okay, that's just a very simple example. Another time, I have one client that I remember that when I connected with her, I was being shown her shower when she was taking showers because she became so present during that time. And she said it was very accurate because she would get ideas for business all the time. She would write them down. She would just get downloads of ideas for business, for her personal life, for her own self-care, because she had an autoimmune disease. So she just got downloads in the shower. So I want to encourage you to start there. What are things that you're doing? Thank you. And they're showing me another vision of another client that I've supported with through. It's like her alpha state, she would step into it when she would go running. Have another person who would step into it when she would go bicycling. So what is it that for you helps you get to alpha? For me personally, meditation is my most favorite way. Or standing or being or sitting or lying by water. So I do really well when I'm by the ocean or by a lake, or just water itself feels very supportive for me to step into the alpha state. And also I go into alpha state when I meditate. When I sit down with my journal, take deep breaths and get into the place of silence, and I very quickly step into alpha and I'm getting energy running through my body. Thank you. And what they're audibly saying is that when we step into alpha, we become pure portals. And actually, I love that they're reminding me of this because that's what I love to share with my clients and I'm sharing with you. You open portals into possibilities. You open portals into receptivity in which more can come in, more can be seen, more can be experienced, and more can be created. So for me, again, meditation is the fastest way for me. In the past, when I was in college, let's say, and even just in high school, dancing was another way for me to put myself into alpha state because I just became that receiver. I would dance with the energy around me, the music. I would just be very in the flow. And actually, that's another way to identify what puts you into flow states. What puts you into a place of allowing in which you are dancing with the moment. That you're so present with yourself, so present with what is trying to be delivered through you, as you, and for you. What are those things for you? So that's the first step to take. What is your flow state? What is your alpha state? What is that exercise, that stillness, that moment, that, thank you, that space of contribution, they're saying, in which you can become available? And we're going to call that alpha state. And for you, if you feel inspired, for those of you that feel inspired, you can go ahead and Google even alpha state just so that you can better understand more of the technicalities of what happens to the brain when you go into alpha state. So another thing, another step. So that's the first one. What is your flow state? What is your natural, organic way to get into alpha state? The second step that you can take is to actually deliberately put yourself into a moment that gets you there quickly and rapidly. One of the fastest ways that I've been able to identify, again, it's actually the one I use, is meditation. But find a guided meditation that can help you get into that stillness in that quiet place. And good news is that we got plenty of that here in the platform. There's plenty for you to be able to put in, play, and enjoy and get yourself into that place. Now, when you do the guided meditation, one thing that I like to do as I'm in alpha state, if there's an intention, an answer, a question, or something you're trying to make yourself available to, write it down, jot it down, identify it consciously, so that when you enter the alpha state again, and you enter that state of portal and receptivity, you become available to that which you seek, that which you're trying to get clarity for. Thank you. So again, that's another way to step into alpha. Guided meditation is what they're audibly wanting to encourage right now. But when you get to a place where you're able to do a guided meditation, but you're also able to just on your own step into complete stillness of the mind, that's another way to meditate, right? To just go into meditation with nothing playing in the background, maybe some music, thank you, some quiet sounds, which again, they're provided in the platform that you can also enjoy as well, and just play that in the background. And if you're able to already get into a place where your mind can go still, you can play that in the background, take deep breaths, guide the intention, and just allow. And then the last thing I'm going to encourage for you to explore to get into alpha state is find something to engage your physiology, something that you can enjoy doing physically, which again, examples that I've already referred to, but I want to just reiterate. You can find that maybe for some of you walking, running, going on a bicycle ride, going on, they're actually, they're saying the word stride, going on a stride, and they're showing me water. So walking in nature is another way that you can engage that, but it is making sure you're actively moving the physiology, engaging the physiology, right? Moving your body. And it could even just be that you stand and they're giving me a vision of somebody going like this. So you could even stand on the side of your bed or in front of a mirror, close your eyes or keep them open, and you could just move your body this way. And what they're saying is that this is just another way to use your physical human self to promote the alpha state here in the brain and in the mind. And it makes me, and I'm hearing tapping. So for some of you, it might even just be just closing your eyes and listening to the tapping, guiding your attention to the tapping. Thank you. And they're saying listening to that sound. And that's another way you can enter an alpha state. Again, there's many different ways to enter the alpha state. If you want to look further and research further, you can very easily Google that and find many different suggestions. This is just what we are offering you right now. What the Saints of Light are saying can help and benefit you. If you want to spread it and explore even more, just know that there's a lot of research or insights available out there to help support what we're talking about. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. And they're saying, when we stay in the beta state, it can feel very confusing. So for some of you who are identifying, well, have I been on beta state for too long, or what does that look like? You might feel confused. Some of us might feel overwhelmed. Some of us might be stressed out. And it does not mean that anytime you're in beta, you're feeling all this. That's just like the normal day-to-day. Like that's what normally where we're at. It's in beta. So that is when we're maybe doing our traditional, our usual stuff. But that's like the norm. You know, when we're trying to make a call because we're trying to take care of a bill, when we're trying to make a call because we're taking care of an appointment, when we are making a call to talk to a loved one, we're usually in beta state. It's just like the norm, the day-to-day. But the problem is, in part, thank you, there's been a deficiency, they're saying. There's been an alpha deficiency in our society. There's been a deficiency into stepping out of that beta, out of that norm. And again, that's why you're here. That's why we're here, because we are choosing to step out of the norm. We're choosing to live outside the norm. We are choosing to become awakened superhumans. And part of the secret to that, part of the secret sauce, they're saying it and they're laughing, like this whole playful idea, what's the secret sauce of the awakened superhuman? And that's it. Being deliberate and intentional into stepping into the alpha state of consciousness. That's when we swim in a different, and they're showing me a pool. We get to swim in something greater, right? We become more available to the greatness, the greater good. We become more available to the exponential, they're saying, the exponential opportunities that are trying to arrive, the exponential opportunities that we can step into. That's when we become, thank you, ooh, I love it. That's when we become more powerfully deliberate creators. So my challenge, invitation, however you want to take this, for today and for the next 12 days, you're actually giving me a number. I want you to consciously commit to stepping into the alpha state. For 12 days, commit to actively engaging the alpha. And let yourself lean into the gift of that. Exponential, thank you. They keep saying the word exponential. Understand that by doing that, you are going to be exponentially supported. You're going to exponentially step into more than what you can even conceive. Exponentially, thank you. You're going to also exponentially rise above some of this chaos that can be identified or perceived right now as unfolding in our collective. This is our time. This is what we've been waiting for. This is who we are becoming. Thank you. We are more than just the norm, right? We are more than just the human. We're here to be powerful manifestors because we are manifesting something beautiful, something tangible, something that is going to liberate us all from what has led us in the past, which is a lot of fear, a lot of doubt. That's no longer part of the tomorrow. Thank you. That's part of the yesterday. So take time to do this. Please share the feedback. Let us know how it's unfolding for you, and please celebrate. Share with us and celebrate all that will come from this.